Hey guys, it is my pleasure to introduce you today to Sarah Riley. Sarah is someone that I haven't known for a long time, but I've really come to appreciate the way that she approaches her business. I want you to listen to her description of her unique value prop, what I would call a unique value proposition. It'll become very clear in the interview. And there's also a phrase in there with it. She says, she's talking about in social media, converting attention to relationships. I want you to listen for that. Say hello to Sarah Riley. Sarah, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
You know what? This is super fun for me. You and I, we did something a couple of years ago. You remember we were kind of
Yeah.
showcasing your marketing and so forth, and that's
Yep.
when I first got to know you. But now we're doing some coaching together. I'm getting to know you more and really starting to appreciate the uniqueness that is Sarah Riley. And that's a big part of what I want to showcase today. So if we're going to start, we have to start with like, why do people care, right? So
Yeah.
people that don't know Sarah Riley, we got to go to the numbers because it's the first thing that people care about. Like, wow, what kind of volume does she do? So can you
Mhm.
tell us about last year and how things are looking year to date?
Yeah, I mean, last year I did 30 million in volume, which
Yep,
you know, is good number, but it's not a good number for me, to be honest,
understood.
but it's going in the right direction.
Yep.
And year to date, I'm already at around 20 million.
Yeah,
So
I love that.
yeah.
I love that for you. I love that for you and with you. You're up in the P&W, which, for a lot of people, the majority of our people who are on the East Coast have really no idea. That's a big area up there in the upper left-hand corner, but they don't really know where you live. So where are you? How would you describe your market, average loan amount, that kind of thing?
Man, I have such a diverse market because I've moved around a bit. So I used to live in the um, south end of Seattle area,
Mm.
and and then now I live on the east side, which is a much higher dollar amount area. So my business is pretty diverse. I mean, I have a really good mix of down payment assistance. Sometimes I'm one of the top lenders for down payment assistance
Did
in my
not know
county.
that. Okay.
Uh-huh. Uh, VA, FHA, and
Yep.
then jumbo. So
Yeah.
I run the gamut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I love that. So here's the thing that I've come to learn about you. I think you're wicked smart. I think that's
Oh,
always a nice
thanks.
compliment. You're welcome. But I mean that in the sense that you're an operator. You are technically very wise. You clearly study guidelines. You know the business, and it's a wonderful quality, obviously, as a loan originator, and not everybody has that. You know that because you compete with people that don't have those skills, right?
hmm
Where you're coming in at the 11th hour to put something back together because it was blowing up with XYZ company. So
Yep.
you're that. But the other thing that's fascinating to me is you could be in marketing. Like you could, I know you actually have a company that does this, and I want
Yeah.
you to talk about this a bit. But yeah, if you wanted to just walk away from loan origination, you could say, "Oh, yeah, I could help any company with generating leads and converting them and so on and so forth." And so it's one of the things that I came to realize once we started spending a little bit more one-on-one time together is that you really do understand the process. And I would love for you to talk a little bit about that because here's what I think, Sarah. Let me just tell you what I think. This is just
Okay.
Bill Hart's opinion. I think if we're really honest and we go back to 2008, so meteor hits the financial markets, right? The world blows up financially.
Mhm.
And one of the unexpected consequences of that was rates dropped and
Yeah.
they stayed low, like, I don't know, until through COVID. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't it feel like it was like 10, 12 years of just
Yes.
rates were low, man. And LOs are refinancing people two, three times a year, getting
hmm
paid every time, still helping the borrower. But, it was a very different world. You didn't have to worry so much about lead generation and lead incubation and lead conversion. It was like there's always the phone's always ringing. There's always somebody out there that needs my help. It's a new day. I feel like we're kind of in the mortgage desert and we've been here for a while, right? It's like, Okay, man, how many people are out there with 3% interest rates that have zero interest in doing anything? You know, the
Mhm.
average, I don't know if you've seen the stats, but when I was originating loans, people would move every 5 to 7 years. Now it's like 10 to 12.
Yeah.
So people just sort of hunker down, right? So yeah, I would love to know, like, where did this all begin for you? Your awareness of the importance of lead incubation and so forth. Where did that first hit you?
Yeah, I feel like I have to go back before I can go
Go
forward.
back.
Okay,
Yeah.
so just for context, I thought about this after I said I'm at 20 million already for the year, but it's the very beginning of May. So
Okay.
I'm on trajectory to hit 55, 60 million this year,
Yep.
which was my goal. So that's great.
Love that.
I got into this business in 2008. That's when I started, when the bomb hit and
Wow.
everybody was like, "What? We have to disclose what we're getting paid." It was like a whole different
Exactly.
world for loan officers. I knew nothing different.
Yeah.
It's all I knew. So, um, the necessity though, like during those times, I just grew and grew and grew. I mean, my very first year originating, I started in this business as an assistant. I learned the business. Then I was a production partner, then a loan officer. And my first year originating under my own name was 2013. I mean, I was
Okay.
originating as a partner before that.
Yep.
That year I did 32 million. And so
Wow.
so when I say I did 30 last year, that's lower
I
than
get
I've
it.
ever done, right?
I get
But
it.
just went up from there. And I was young and I was building a family. And so the need to like learn how to incubate a lead and convert and become not just a loan officer that's
Yeah.
working transactionally.
Yep.
Because a lot of people, like, they know the importance of a relationship, but they don't know how to like convert that into long lasting business,
You
right?
bet.
So being just a loan officer that's transactional was I was just spiraling trying to be all the things, a mom and a wife and balance my life. And so I built systems back then that have carried me forward. And I'm literally it evolved over time, but in 2018, I really built this lead tracker. It used to just be a very simple Excel and then it kept building. And I've been using that same version since 2018
Wow.
because I didn't, at the time we were all doing really well, and every year we were doing more than the year before, and it was great.
Yeah.
But that for me, I needed time. I needed sanity. I needed to be able to sleep at night and know
Of
that
course.
I don't have to work so hard because I can
Yep.
convert more with less. And so that's kind of where it all started for me. And um, way back, okay, I take you way back to the beginning. I was a mathlete. Okay, so I was in math club when I was a kid. I went to school before school started to sit in a portable and do math problems for
Oh my
fun.
goodness.
Okay. And I was done with math before I even got into high school. I mean, ended at calculus and I didn't even have to take math through high school. So I love numbers, which is why this job fits me well. But then I was also DECA president. So talk about marketing. It's like both things came together to make
Totally.
this perfect little loan
Perfect.
officer package. Because I really focus my business not on transactions, but on relationships and growing those relationships
Yes.
with not just clients, but realtor partners.
Yeah, yeah.
So I look at it very differently than I think most loan officers look at their business.
You do, and I love it, and I celebrate it so much, man. There's so much that was in there that you just talked about. So when you went back and you talked about, what was the first job again?
What?
Processor?
Oh, I was just an assistant. I was a loan officer assistant. Yeah.
Okay. That, it's like Lyra Wagner, very similar kind of background. I'm just always fascinated by people who learn the business from the ground up, and you literally learned it from the ground up, and then you developed your own philosophy. And I don't
Hmm.
know what drove that. I guess as you were describing it, maybe it was the desire for efficiency. Was it
Hmm.
more that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Efficiency. Um, I just, as a new loan officer and young and a woman, I mean, you're not going to please everyone, and it was
For
really
sure.
hard to make everyone happy, all the real estate agents on the sides of the transaction,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, rather than chasing people, I want to attract people
You bet.
so that they're coming to me. And I really focused on brand building versus chasing relationships because
Okay, so I got to stop you there. Hang
yeah.
on. Try and hold your thought because I don't
Okay.
want you to lose
No,
it.
you're fine. I got it.
I just want to I want to stick a pin in that for a second because
Okay.
that whole idea of attracting rather than chasing
Mm-hmm.
is, to me, is it's what it's all about. I've always said to people, when it comes to people that you realtors, let's start there because it's the obvious relationship that,
Yeah.
generates business for most people in this business. There are other options, but it's the by far the biggest lane.
It
I've
is.
always said assume the relationship. Now
Mm.
that's very different than, when my granddaughter, you have three girls, right?
Yeah. Three girls.
Yeah. So at least one of them is the girly girl, I'm assuming. Is
Yeah.
that true? Okay.
Yep.
So I had a granddaughter that was a girly girl until I think she became an ice skater. And that began to change a bit once she became an athlete. But she would get her twirling dress when she was like 7, you know what I mean? And she would twirl in front of me like, aren't I pretty?
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to hear from grandpa or her daddy that she's pretty. And I feel like that's the way that most loan officers approach realtors. And I'm telling you, it makes me gag
Mm-hmm.
because that's not the game, you guys. That's not if that's the
Mm-hmm.
game, you should really rethink your whole model because you're just never going to win that. That's not going to work. Any realtor that you want business from, more than likely, has a relationship they're already happy with, right? So that approach isn't going to work. Sarah's approach is, I understand you've already got a relationship. I'm going to create more value.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of when does the tipping point hit and I know you've seen that again and again where it's like, hey Sarah, can you guys, hey, could you, wow, my phone is lighting up because it thinks I'm saying, hey Siri.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I love the attraction model and I love that idea. So do you recall the additional thought that you were going to go to now that I've stuck a pin in that thought?
Oh, I think I think a lot of people understand relationships, right? Well, you
Yeah.
just said maybe they don't. So maybe they don't, right? But a relationship,
Not in business. I think people understand it personally. I
right?
think it's more difficult for many people to translate that to business.
I think that's like you just said it though. It is personal. And if you're not approaching every relationship as personal, and that's I think why, rather whether you understand relationships or not, very few people understand how to convert relationships at a high level,
Totally.
right? Because we get our feelings hurt, someone doesn't want us, they don't pick us, right? But we all know that it's not about you. Usually it's about timing or need,
Totally.
right? And so I just spend most of my time figuring out what problems people have, and they're not loan problems.
Yep.
They're not loan problems. I haven't talked to a real estate agent about a product or a rate, and I don't know how long.
I
It's
love
not what
that.
I lead with, it's all of the other things that I can solve for them. And that's what makes me not just a loan officer, right? And it's the separator because
So
everyone
people
else is talking about the other stuff.
It's totally a separator, but I
Mhm.
guarantee you people are listening right now and they're saying, "So what do you mean? What are you talking about? What kind of problems are you solving?" Like
Okay.
expand
Yeah.
on that.
Okay. So I'm solving marketing problems, right? I'm solving tracking problems. Basically whatever you're really good at, right?
Mm,
What everyone has their niche. So maybe your niche is numbers and you can like dig into that and just be this analytical. Even though
sure.
I love numbers, that's not what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm reaching out and finding out like how do they want to build their business? Do they want to connect to their sphere more? Do they need help making a newsletter? And then I go and create a newsletter like I just did. I created a newsletter template. I have multiple templates. They choose one. I spend a little bit of time creating the content. They have to fill in, give me some of the material. I set it up one time. They give me their entire email sphere list, who they want their to go out to. I plug in what I want to talk about in their newsletter, and I put myself in their
Of
newsletter,
course you
and then I
do.
send it out for them. And
Oh
so,
my
you
goodness.
know, there's a problem I solved. They're like, oh, I just can't get into my front of my sphere enough. Well, here's a
Totally.
simple solution. You know, um, and a lot
Wow.
of times it's tracking. Like I'm just really good at tracking and numbers and
Yep.
conversion, and I lead with that a lot because most people aren't that good at tracking. And
For
so
sure.
that's an easy solution to say, hey, here's how you can make more money,
I
right?
love that. I love that. So again, if you're listening right now or watching and you're saying, okay, I hear that for Sarah, her strength is marketing, so that makes sense that she would get into that. But I need to run that past my personal strengths, right? What
Hmm.
your superpower. In other words, back in the day when I was in title, I had been in mortgage, then I got in title insurance. I created a website called successwithbill.com. And on that website,
I
I
love that.
had like all my favorite books and quotes
Oh,
and TED Talks because it's who I am, right? That's the
yeah.
stuff that fires me up. But it was a complete differentiator. In Southern California, title was calendars, like desk calendars and styrofoam cups in your trunk. That's all that title
Hmm.
reps did. And you had to look good, right? Like that was important. So the differentiator is going to be unique, but the common thread here is to step away from the traditional. I'm just harping on this so much. I know I'm making people crazy, but stop calling it lunch and learns. Like, stop that. Every time you say that, you're throwing yourself into a bucket of history of mediocrity. Stop that. Come up with
Yeah.
something different. Lindsay Atkins, I don't know if you heard her interview or not. She just told me it was something we were putting together in a coaching session. She's putting together a relax hour because
Hmm.
relax is her brand. Her initials are in the middle of the
Oh,
word,
I love it.
right? Relax. So her sister is a naturopath and does
Love.
like beauty stuff. So she's going to get a hotel room, invite top agents from this high-end boutique, real estate company, and they're all going to come in for like red light therapy and
Love.
I don't know, just nails and whatever
Yeah.
they do. Do something different, you guys. Figure out what your thing is. Okay, so let me back up to one more question I can imagine people are asking. Like, okay, so how did you get to the point where you found out what the realtors need? How do you, is it partly your brand, Sarah? Do you feel like you've already established enough of a brand that you kind of have the right to or the permission to have an initial call that's kind of a discovery call, or do you have to sort of work at that?
I still have to work at it. And
Okay.
I still have all the same fears as everyone else that nobody wants to hear what I have to say. And I'm not,
Real.
worthy of their time or whatever. I'm just another
Yeah.
loan officer. Um, Here's the thing is even still now, I just ask a lot of questions. I
I
always
love
have.
that.
I don't go like people, a lot of people know how to get attention, right? You're putting stuff out on social media, but it's usually about how great you are. And it's about converting that attention into relationships. And so if you have a moment where you can sit down with an agent and actually have a conversation, that's what I'm doing. That's what I've always done. I start with who I've worked with, and then every year, at least once a year, if not twice a year, I sit down with them and I just ask them like about their business. Tell me, like I ask so many questions, what gaps they have, and then I do surveys all the time. Like we actually do a bites and insights or a thirsty Thursday. I love getting together. I've got a ninja slushy. I want to make some drinks in there and have some fun and share
That's
some
awesome.
things. But I want to know what they want. I don't just pick subjects.
Yeah.
Like what is important to you guys?
Yeah.
I just think people don't ask enough questions. They talk too much, and so
Oh my
that's all
goodness.
it is. It's just asking a
So
lot of questions.
you guys, this is a masterclass on building relationships. I mean, think about it. So my wife Tony and I have been married for 36 years. She would tell you, because she tells everybody this, that I fell in love with her long before she paid attention to me. Truth, right? That's the truth. But if all I did was talk about me when we got together, right, that I wouldn't be telling you that we've been married 36 years because it wouldn't have
Hmm.
happened. It was all about what was important to her, right? That's what I naturally did intuitively because I had fallen in love with this woman and I just want to know more about your world and I want to be valuable to you. I want to create a relationship. So you guys, it's not look, Sarah said it. I misspoke when I said personal relationships versus business relationships. That's a transactional mindset, and you certainly don't want to go down that path. Here's an easy tool. I don't know if I've ever told you this, Sarah, but it's something I learned from Keith Collins years ago, and he just calls it the 10-10-10, and it's a super simple thing to do. You probably do something like this, but let's say you select a group of 20 realtors that you would like to do business with. They meet your criteria, they're your avatar, they're doing the right amount of business. And you say, okay, I'm going to now track them on Facebook, as an example. You probably know you can create groups in Facebook that only you're aware of. So it's all your realtors, and you go in and you see, oh, they just came back from Hawaii. Wow, what island were you on? Right? You're asking natural questions that you would if you ran into this person at a fundraiser or a charity event or a soccer game, right? Just natural conversation. So you're liking commenting or DMing 10 times a day to that group. And if you think about it, rather than leading with what the 10-year treasury is doing, and like, stop that. Stop that. Be human. Connect with people. Okay, I'm going to transition because I want to ask one more question. You said it and then it kind of just went by, and I'm pretty sure there's people going like, I want to hear more about the lead tracker.
No.
So I realize it started in Excel, but I think I want to know less about the tool and more about the discipline. Like what does that even mean to you? Does that mean as an example, if you meet somebody at one of your kids' events and a conversation comes up about building an ADU or moving down or first-time home buyers or whatever, do how do you capture that, and how does that process then move down your tracker?
Okay, yeah, this is a great question. Uh, well, it's pretty simplistic. Like, I mean, everyone has their CRMs. We all have our CRMs. Movement has a great one. We
For
use
sure.
those tools too. You'll never convince me that you shouldn't own your own database in a simple spreadsheet. Because when I get, that person's name,
Yep.
who's interested, they go on the lead tracker. I mean, it's just a Google Doc, so I can put it on my
Yeah.
phone. I can go do it later. It's a habit like anything, right?
Sure.
You add it on there. We sit down and review the lead tracker every single day. We work in it. It's up. It's just a thing, but it's really simple. And let me tell you how. And here's an example of how it translated into just work. Okay,
Yeah.
so everyone's categorized on there. Are they a lead, a hot lead, a pre-approved buyer? Where are they at, right? And then the result of that lead. Then there's notes and other things. We use this lead tracker to update our agents. We use our agents. So it's like everything's run off of it. Well, the other day I decided, hey, I'm going to reach out to all of my pre-approved buyers who went on hold because their status is they went on hold for
Yep.
whatever reason from 2022 to 2025. So they're not actively
Okay.
shopping. They went on hold. It's 186 people. And I pulled that list in like 5 seconds, filtered my spreadsheet, grabbed those names and numbers, and then uploaded that list into, I use the Reach app for
Yep.
text messaging. And
Yep.
in less than 5 minutes, I'd sent out 186 text messages to people on hold with a simple text. I created six of them. I'm going to do them every other week for 12 weeks. And there's a simple respond, one, two, or three. And I had the next morning, I woke up to 17 responses
Out of 186.
out of 186.
That's
But
amazing.
I mean, the people will respond over time. People don't need you.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah, yeah,
personal,
for sure.
right? So the
Yep.
more I do it, the more response I'll get.
Yep.
And maybe down the road, this is on top of all the other follow
For
up and stuff
sure.
they're getting. But what I was just talking to an agent the other day, and he said, "Well, how do you know who to call when? And like, how do you pull a list that quickly?" I'm like, "Just my lead tracker,
Yep.
right?" And then
Yep.
we just have days focused on, I mean, back to old
I
school
love it.
days,
No, no, no. Listen, here's what's magical to me. And I think I've told you this, maybe not. You and I probably haven't been coaching long enough for me to tell you all my stories. But one of the things that's really hit me that top producers do that's different than average people in this business is, and I don't mean any judgment in that. I just mean what I mean is highly effective people. That's a
Mm-hmm.
better distinction in my experience. Don't focus on the what, it's more the how. And so what I mean by that is somebody's going to listen to what you just said and they're going to get hung up on what did you say in that text? Because
Yeah.
they perceive that as the magic bullet. That's not the magic bullet. The magic bullet is the process, right?
Hmm.
So whether it's an Excel spreadsheet, you guys, or a steno pad or more, or what's the other one that's called? I can't think of the name of it at the moment. It doesn't matter. That's not the issue here. The issue is that you have a funnel that you never let go of people. And I agree with you, by the way, on the idea that I think one way or another, you should just own your database. It is your book of business. It's everything that is valuable to me. To you, how many people do you think you have total in your database at this point?
Uh, I don't know.
Ballpark.
Well, on that spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, it has to be 8,000, 7,
Yeah.
8,000. I don't know. A lot
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, at least probably 70 of them.
So there was a guy, let's just see if I can bring this up fast enough. Have you ever heard of a guy named David Jaffe?
I have not.
He's been in the business forever, probably 30 years now, and I think he's slowing down. But I knew him years ago, and I knew he had a big database, but I didn't know his numbers. Here's what he said to me. He had done 300 million in the year that I had spoken to him, 600
Wow,
units. 600 units.
that's crazy.
He had 17,000 people in his database and he actively marketed to 2,500. And he said his whole thing was, why should I sell someone twice if I can sell them once? Wow the customer from day one and then just stay in touch because they become raving fans. It's
Mm-hmm.
very much the way that you do business. But
Mm-hmm.
what he did was he would send out physical mail 12 times a year, four newsletters, and eight who I helped postcards. He spent 2,200 a month for direct marketing. And he said for 2,500 people, it was just under $1 per mailing. So you guys, think about this. This is old school marketing. Now, we're not saying don't do social media. We're not saying don't use Reach the app. I love all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a play here. There's a guy that just sent me a text yesterday, and he said, Coach, because we had been talking about him sending, was it postcards? He was sending postcards out, and he got an immediate response from someone that he hadn't spoken to in several years, and it's like, yeah, man, we're actually thinking about moving, and we need a good realtor. Be different is what I'm saying. I think that Sarah, when I think of you, and you guys all need to follow Sarah on Instagram, Facebook. Where else should they go?
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's it
Fo-
really.
Follow Sarah because you're gonna see some really interesting stuff. I just told her before we started recording that I was so impressed with what she does on social because it's so unique. You guys, if you're gonna create gravitational pull, you have to be different. I just posted the other day, I don't know if you saw it. I took the most interesting man in the world
Oh.
theme and put my face on it and just inside chat, just sort of created the most interesting coach in the world, right?
Love it.
And it had all the, he doesn't give action plans. Action plans come to him or whatever. There's a bunch of that kind of stuff in there. And it's tongue in cheek and it's silly and it's something most people wouldn't do, but I do that for the same reason you do it. It creates gravitational pull. I have more people saying to me that I've never met, I feel like I know you because of the way that I show up on social. So what I'm saying here is
100%.
there's a place for old school in terms of mail, physical mail, newsletters. Just think about it, you guys, postcards. It's be the contrarian, but then dominate the digital space and create gravitational pull like Sarah has.
You have to do it all. Consumers don't really want that polished perfection stuff anymore. They want connection and education and authenticity. And
Totally
uh,
agree.
there's just not enough people doing that, right? And your marketing, people just underestimate it. I feel like they just really underestimate their marketing and they stop before the trust is built. And it takes a lot of different ways to market to someone for them to get a sense of who you are now,
Yeah,
because we're just we consume so much, right?
so true.
And so it's diluted. And you have to do more than you think, but you have to be consistent because it could be 3 years. I mean, I have so many stories like that where you don't think anyone's reading your emails, and then all of a sudden an agent reaches out and says, I love the way you do business.
Totally.
I want to come work with you. And a
Totally.
partnership is formed.
Yeah.
But people give up way before that happens.
That's such a great point. So it's funny. Look, even inside our marketplace system, it's quarter to quarter. So sometimes I think people say, "Well, I'm going to try this service. I'm going to try MBS Highway for 90 days." And what I see again in highly effective people is they look for the social proof of the concept. Like, does this
Yeah.
feel to me? Do my instincts, tell me that this is going to be worthwhile? And then I'm going to commit to the process, and the results will take care of themselves. But to your point, it could take 30, 60, 90, 120 days before you see something. So yeah, man, I love your messaging here. So if you had a room full, and you kind of do, a room full of loan officers right now, and you were going to give them a piece of advice that you wish you had learned in your 20s when that crazy first year when you went out on your own, holy cow, doing 30 what,
Two
5
million.
million, holy cow. um what's the piece of advice that your older self would give your younger self?
Consistency. I wish, it took me a while to create systems that worked for me. And I
Yeah.
feel like you don't need motivation. People don't usually need that much motivation. They need systems.
Yep.
And I wish that I had started sooner with those systems and been consistent in them, because I probably wouldn't have felt, you know, when you have a system and you don't give up on it, it
Yep.
will ride any market. So,
You bet.
what we've gone through has been tough, and we definitely had to reposition ourselves and change and evolve, which is good. That's
No
like good for
doubt.
the industry, it's good for
You
us.
bet.
But I think, had, I had more of an infrastructure, would I have sustained it a little bit better than I did?
Yep.
Maybe. But
Yeah.
I definitely would have had more peace of mind. I spent a lot of years up late at night, like, losing my mind after I put my kids to bed, trying to get all the work done and stressed out. And I don't have that, that I do a good amount of business, but I also don't work myself to death because of the systems I have.
Okay, so that's a soundbite I'm going to use in the marketing of this interview because that is has universal appeal. Everybody that just heard you say that, they either nod their head in understanding or kind of shake their head in, yeah, that's exactly what I got to do. I got to figure out how to do that. So, you guys, there's a lot of ways to do that. I wouldn't be a decent coach for impact coaching internally if I didn't say we could help you with that, but we can. And what I would say to you is there's no one way to do that. There's a lot of entities that will try and sell you the system, and I'm just of the belief that there is no the system.
Mm-mm.
There's your system. You can be encouraged, you can be inspired by something else that you see, but it's going to be unique to you in the same way that, Sarah has figured out her superpower and her unique value proposition. I would encourage you to start there. If you're listening to this right now and you're like, I don't know where to begin, but man, I can identify with what Sarah just said. I've got to get my systems in place because I'm hitting a ceiling at whatever, 5 loans a month, 7 loans a month. It depends on the person. But if that sounds familiar to you, get really clear on what your unique offering is to the marketplace. And if you don't know how to do that, a great way to do this is Coach Dan Sullivan with Strategic Coach calls it the your unique ability. So just try this, you guys, as you listen to this. And Sarah, I would love for you to do this too, if I've never told you this. Select 10 to 12 people whose opinions that you respect. Send them a text that simply says, my coach has asked me, and I'm telling you right now, so you can use this. My coach has asked me to ask 10 to 12 people whose opinion I respect. When you think of me, what comes to mind as my unique ability? Question mark, end of dialogue. Like
Okay.
that's it. You're probably not going to hear back from all 10 to 12. You'll probably get 7 to 9. And what you hear back is a pretty good random sampling of how the market sees you. And I think you're going to be surprised at what you hear. You might hear things like, she does what she says she's going to do. I can always count on her. She's the ultimate connector. Like you'll figure it out once you start getting that feedback, but then stand tall, like put on your cape, stand tall in that superpower and figure out how to begin start marketing. And we can help you with that to put together a system. Sarah, you're awesome. And I
Hey,
love hanging out with you. Thank
this
you
was
so much for
great.
making this time. Yeah, it was fun today. If you had one final thought, you got 3 little girls that maybe not so little. What are the ages now?
16, 14 next week, and 10.
Holy cow. Wow.
Mhm.
There's a lot of estrogen in your house.
So
So,
there's a
right,
lot. Yeah.
right. But I'm sure you have these conversations with these young women in your world. If you were talking to them or you were talking to an LO that is just not sure what they should be doing, I mean, what would be the word of encouragement from you to particularly to, I'm just talking about young women right now.
Mm.
What would you say to young women right now that you don't think they're hearing often enough?
Mm. Wow, it's like that's like a really hard question, Bill.
I do ask
Uh,
hard questions,
there's so
sorry.
many things I would say.
Well, what's the
What
first
are they
one that
not
just
hearing right
pops into
now?
your head? Yeah.
I guess the first thing I thought was like, it's okay to look silly. It's okay to fail.
Oh, I
It's
love
okay.
that one.
Because I think especially women, more so than men, we try so hard not to fail, not to look bad in front of other people. And even with all the pressure, you know, my littlest, my 10-year-old, she'll be like, she'll get embarrassed really easily. You know, I'm like,
Sure.
she doesn't want to be the last one on the field.
Yep.
And I'm like, you're the first one. She's always making me be super early, and I'm not an early person, Bill. You know this.
I do
And
know
I
this.
said, and I'm like, why do you have to be out there? I just don't want people, trying to get to the root of it. And so helping her understand, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. And there's just so much pressure. It's okay to look silly and like get up
I
and
love
do it
that.
again and laugh at yourself. I think we just take ourselves way too seriously sometimes.
Yep.
And that's actually what builds trust and authenticity. People connected to
I
you because
agree.
you're completely a fallible human and you show it every day. And then people are like, well, she's real. I can trust her, right?
I love that so much. So, do you mind telling the Ike story in closing so that
The
people
Ike story.
understand what
Yeah.
you're talking about here?
Oh,
Because this
yeah. I
that
share
is a
all the
perfect
things.
example of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I share all the things. If you follow me on social media, I will share all. My kids say too much. Don't tell that story, mom. But I tell all the things because I like to laugh at myself, and I also think that it brings us all together because we
Totally.
all got our things, right?
Totally.
Well, I have this huge calic in the back of my head. Today, he's not out. It's a guy. He's a man. He's not out, and my husband doesn't understand why I named him Ike, which I feel like he's a Russian mobster. Like he's really aggressive and he's out and he's proud and like you're not gonna mess with him. You can't
Oh,
cover him up, okay?
exactly.
And but it's not. I just don't think it's my problem. It's your problem if you can see it. I can't see it, right? But my husband will tell me once in a while. He's like, "Oh, Sarah Ike's out." I'm like, "Oh,
Oh,
Ike."
it's
I'm like, "All right."
hysterical. You guys, who talks about this stuff, right? So I want you to go and look at Sarah's social and go back by the time you hear this, go back and find that post. She's wearing, I know you wear a New York cap quite a bit, but you're
I
wearing
do.
one in that. Yeah. And it is worth listening to because that's great advice. And I'm just going to say for men as well, you guys, men and women, stop it. Stop being so serious. Stop
Yeah.
taking yourself so seriously. Connect with people. The last thing I'll say to you is something I'm learning from Ken Perry right now, whose wife is a therapist, is that since COVID, and I think everybody knows this, their mental illness is rampant in this country, and anxiety and insecurity and antidepressant drugs, and it's wild, you guys. So the more that we can connect with each other and be real with each other,
Mhm.
the more that we're going to help each other be lifted up, stand a little taller, recognize that we're not alone. Sarah, you do that really well, and I appreciate you. And as I said that, my phone just lit up again because it seriously thinks that I'm talking to SIRI. I do not understand this. All right, my friend, this has been fantastic. Thank you very much. I look forward to our next call. Thank you for making time to share with everybody today.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This was great. This is great. Thanks, Bill.
You
You're the
bet.
best.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
See you. Well, I hope you enjoyed your time with Sarah as much as I did. I think she is really special. She is on her way to 55 to 60 million this year, having done 30 last year. She's really getting her feet under herself again. And she's just got such a great approach to business. Man, if the lead tracker idea hits something inside you, take action on it. The fact that she's got 8,000 people in a lead tracker is quite remarkable. She does not let go. She knows how to build relationships and she knows how to convert relationships to leads. And I've never heard anybody as effective at it as her. So I hope you were inspired. If we can help you, you know how to find us. Get coaching at movement.com and be sure and like and subscribe because we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.